Previously on Gears.
There, but it is now 1:30, time for Dorothy Black on a Wednesday afternoon, wherever she may be. At this time of the year, one doesn't know. Hello, Dottie.
Hello.
How are you, gorgeous lady?
Hi, I can't see you.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hold on. I'm here.
I still can't see you.
Okay, well, we can see you. That's more important.
Okay, is Ian going to take another horrible screenshot again?
No. Ian's here.
Never.
He's full of.
That was so wrong, Ian. So wrong.
He's a little bit fluey.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Shame.
I mean,
Man
shame.
flu.
What do you mean shame? I mean good. That's
Didn't
not
say
very
anything.
nice.
Because of the picture that was
See,
The
I
picture.
told you that's why I'm scared
The
of dogs.
picture. So, Dottie, apparently you've been play baiting this morning with your new toys.
Yes. Procrastinating.
Oh, that was the word. Yes.
Wow.
Yes,
What a lovely life.
it is.
Imagine that.
It's a fun bit of work while I wait to do other work.
Imagine if boys could do that all day. Just sit at home. Have a-
Wanking. Isn't that what you do in the studio?
No. People
Why
can
is the
see us.
visual not here? Why can't I see you?
No, because otherwise then it eats up all of our timeline. In any case, and if you see us, then we're blushing. Dottie, this is a wild question.
Yeah, it's pretty hectic.
Let me read it in full. I recently discovered my wife having cyber sex with a few guys. She is 41, and these guys all seem to be in their 20s. Should I confront her on it, or leave her to have her fun? I mean, it is better than her running off with some guy. Maybe she will grow out of it. When we do have sex, she is wild, and she's not shy. But
I love the way you're reading this session.
But I feel that she is just living out one of her fantasies and not having sex with me. It just seems she would rather masturbate with some stranger on Skype. It is like she wants to dominate these young guys. It makes her feel good to see them get turned on and wank off. Wow.
Wow. Wild.
Maybe the fault is with me. I feel inadequate, and I can feel the intimacy between us is slipping away. I would have gone with the words drying up. Anyway, we've been married for 17 years. She's incredibly hot and has a body to die for. The thought of her showing off her body to some guy is just heartbreaking. Sure, there's quite a few questions.
That's a lot. So cyber sex, especially if you're concealing cyber sex in the confines of a relationship, I imagine is really the equivalent of having a sexual affair, actually, because cyber sex is sex. And for whatever reason you're engaging in it. So, the loss of intimacy is real because your wife's sexual energy is being focused on something apart from you and outside of the relationship. So, of course, my answer is whether you should bring this up is going to be yes. Of course you should bring it up because she's starting to explore her sexuality in a way that doesn't include you. And cyber sex is quite an easy way to explore your sexuality because it's quite safe. You don't really have to engage. Everybody knows why they're there. You don't have to engage with anybody's feelings apart from what's going on in your marriage. But the actual act of cyber sex is quite emotionally and physically safe for a lot of people to explore new aspects of their sexuality, which I think is what's happening here. Because it sounds like your wife is actually a bit of a dom. And by that I mean she sounds like she's got quite dominant tendencies, and maybe you're correct in the fact that she likes to dominate these young guys because they're easy and it's the way to go. But you won't find out actually what her kink is until you sit her down and ask her what the hell's going on. And I'm curious to find out how you found out. Were you trawling her? Did you catch her? Did you find her stuff on the internet? Like, how do you know she's doing this?
Good point. Very good point.
Yeah, I think a lot of partners, they get curious about the private lives of their partners because you'll never know everything that's going on in your partner's head. So I think a lot of people go and snoop to find out, and it sounds like maybe that's what happened here. So I suggest you sit down with her and find out where she's going sexually, and if there's a way that maybe you can get involved. if you bring up this whole new kink that she's exploring, and you can start talking about that, and she is actually a bit of a dom, and she does get it off on a bit of voyeurism or exhibitionism, then you guys can actually start exploring that together. Whether that's your kink as well, that's a different story. And I mean, how long have they been married for?
17 years.
17 years. You see, I mean, that's over the course of 17 years, sexuality is going to change. You're going to grow, you're going to find new things, and she's doing that. She's finding new things out about herself, and maybe you're not growing fast enough with her. Maybe your sexuality hasn't changed. Maybe it hasn't morphed. Maybe it can. But it all starts with sitting her down and telling her basically what you told me and what we're now telling, the rest of South Africa. It's actually something you should have sat down and spoken to her about.
But now hold on. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
It all sounds wonderful in theory, Dot. But how do you go now to your partner and sit there down and go, hey, babe, by the way, I saw you playing with yourself while you were Skyping some other man. Do you just say it like that?
I think if someone's willing to do that behind your back, I think you can say it in any way you like to say it.
Okay.
I think
Good point.
The easiest way to say something is just to say it, and to say it as simply as possible, as simply as, I know you've been engaging in cyber sex with younger men. I want to know why. The trick is just not to be judgmental about it. And it's not like you have to pussyfoot around the fact. I mean, she's been lying to you, and she's been keeping something from you, and that's hurtful and not cool. And it's affecting your sex, and it's affecting your relationship. But you don't have to be judgmental about the fact that she's exploring something that maybe she didn't think that you could join in on. I would be judgmental about the fact that maybe she wasn't being open with you, or questioning why your relationship isn't strong enough that you guys could talk about this. Questioning maybe where your sexual relationship is, that the intimacy isn't there, that she can share this with you, or didn't want to share this with you from the word go. I think there are other things that need to be looked at here that are more difficult to talk about than, I saw you whacking off to young guys over Skype. They're more important questions, like, why did this start happening? Why didn't we go into this thing together? And then obviously where to from there? Can I come with you? Is this something we can do together? But it's certainly not going to go away. And cyber sex and anything online can be quite addictive. It can just get more and more. So I would definitely tackle this now.
Now listen, I mean, you brought it up a little bit earlier. We don't know how he found out.
No.
But if you read through the letter, it seems as though she wants him to know about it. So
Yeah, I mean,
so maybe
yeah.
that does open up the communication channel.
Yeah, look, maybe she does. I think a lot of people, when we're too scared to actually be honest with someone, especially someone that we're in a relationship with and we don't want to hurt, I think we often do things a little unconsciously. We lay down little Hansel and Gretel breadcrumbs so that somebody will have to confront us before we have to confront them. But again, whether or not she's been leaving those breadcrumbs is really irrelevant. The point is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to keep, pussyfooting about, being passive-aggressive about it? Are you going to keep pretending nothing's happening? Now's the time to sit down and go, we need to talk about this. It's not complicated. People gameplay so much, and it's really not complicated. If you have something to say it. If you found something you're not comfortable with, say it. I'm not comfortable with this. What's going on? You have as much right to be satisfied in this relationship as what she does. And it sounds like at the moment, neither of you are satisfied. So sit down and have the conversation,
As you say, Dottie, you should say it. So Nolan says you can see that Dottie is being procrastinating all this morning. She has sex hair.
I always have sex hair.
You're lucky you, eh? Listen, the whole thing about it is, and you know what, you're 100% right, but I think for me, I find it quite uncomfortable to hear a lot of these things. But it seems as though, as you say, don't judge and go out there and try and talk.
Talk and realize that sexuality, over the course of 17 years, if your sexual interests aren't changing, if they aren't evolving, if they're not morphing into something more, or you're not curious about stuff, I'm actually more concerned about people whose sexuality stays on a flat line for 17 years than someone who is starting to engage in cybersex to explore their sexuality that way. So I think there are a lot of conversations you're going to be having, and I'm imagining that a lot of them are not going to be comfortable, because if your kink can't align with her kink and vice versa, 17 years, do you stick it through for another 17? Do you? And so it goes on. It's a rabbit hole, but you got to start somewhere.
All right, Dottie. Very nice nail polish, by the way.
Ah, thank you. Do you like it?
Yes, very, very nice. There we go. Very, very good. All right, Dottie. Well, thank you for that. Hopefully, I hope you do hear from this person again. Maybe.
Sometimes people email me back and say something worked or didn't, but very rarely people actually email back. I think I don't know how often people actually follow advice. And then the people that have followed advice and they've had positive feedback have come back to me. But sometimes they either shout at me or damn me to hell or something,
Buggers. All right, gorgeous. Have a beautiful day, Dottie. Have a great Easter.
Thanks, guys. You too.
We'll speak to you soon.
Okay, ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Weekdays from 12 to 2 p.m. Central African Time.
Beautiful.
Gears with Sasha Martinengo on balls.co.za.